Hello, I'm Queen Educator, the CEO and lead consultant of Everybody Educate, a full service consulting firm that exists to empower and equip educators to be at their best. So many teachers are quitting. Our primary goal is to support educators and educational establishments in achieving authentic, creative, and culturally relevant teaching and learning. We are sure that your learning environment will shift and you will see excellence and equitable practices when you partner with us. Thank you. See our services below. Hello, everybody. I am so excited because we are hosting Brilliance on a Monday. Listen, we're here on another Monday with another brilliant educator. And I'm super excited to bring up Dr. Rachel Goode to the stage. She is an educator who educates not just in the four walls, but outside of the four walls as well. And it's so important. So let's welcome her and let's say hello to the people.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you all.
Yes. We are so glad to have you here. A lot of people ask me, Dr. Goode, they ask me, well, why do you bring in people who aren't in the classroom and you're a classroom teacher? I'm like, because you guys are missing it. Everybody educate, right? So we all play a part in educating and doing it with excellence and equitable practices. That's what we believe. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just going to start off right here. How do you educate?
Well, I do. I feel like I take on a number of different hats. So in my day job, I am a researcher. So I design programs to help mostly Black Americans learn how to heal their relationship with their food, body, disordered eating, and help to prevent and treat chronic disease, so obesity, type 2 diabetes. And then I also am a therapist, so I have a small caseload of clients, and I'm a coach. So I find myself educating on all levels, trying to help folks get, to a new place of freedom in their relationship with food.
I love that. And listen, I'm on this journey too. So I'm really excited about what you're going to share with us today. I'm on my brand new journey of just like thinking about how do I want to end the year strong, like wellness wise. We're always getting into family and work and all these things. And sometimes we often, and you can probably attest to this, and I know you'll share a little bit more, we often forget about our relationship with our own wellness, our own selves being well, especially as educators, coaches, teachers. Sure. Talk to us a little bit about number one. I know I'm jumping right in. We'll go back to the story. Talk to me about how important that really is.
Yes. The phrase, as you were talking, Robin, my wellness is my responsibility. Mm-hmm. And there have been so many seasons, especially when you are tasked with serving others. Yeah. When, I don't know, I think you think that your wellness, your health is going to just magically be okay because you're serving other people. But no, I have to prioritize it. I have to find a spot and I have to work at it because it's going to be really easy for me to put it to the back burner. And what I've come to see is that my wellness is the way that I'm best educating others, right? I need to be well first.
Say that one more time. Oh my gosh, that's really powerful. I'm putting this banner here because I think we need to see that and remember that my wellness is my responsibility. And you said so many amazing things just off the gate. Guys, I need you to get out your pen, your paper. First of all, I need you to share this out and let people know that we are live, that we are talking a lot here about mindful eating, fostering wellness in the classroom and families. And I have none other than Dr. Rachel Goode on here with us. And I think that this is the perfect time. We're about to get ready to go back to school. And families, educators, we need to be well. I know I have a lot of people who are educators that watch this, and many educators know that they're not just in the classroom, but they're also they're educators, home educators. They're also business leaders, coaches. Like, I need you all to understand that Dr. Goode is telling us the truth here. My wellness is my responsibility. But before we jump in any further, just talk to us about where you're from. Where are you from?
Yes. So I like to say I'm from a lot of different places. But my family, we currently live here in the Charlotte metro area. So we moved here about 6 years ago from Pittsburgh. And so we love it here. We have really enjoyed, but I have loved, this is my first time living in the South. So it has been a gift. It really has been a gift overall. And I have, I've been really excited, just the opportunity I have had to reach a new market, new demographic, and to kind of learn more about our people here.
Yes. I'm going to add this to the screen because this is what we believe. And I want your reaction and response to this. And in connection to how you educate. And you did say I educate. It came out right from the gate.
Right from the jump. Yeah.
Excellent. What do you think?
First of all, I love that you give us a definition. We use this word, right? What does it mean to educate? And I think we've done it when we teach a concept. But when I think about how this relates to my work, it's how do I create an experience, right? Where people are having an experience where they're being transformed by things that they did not know about. And you educate one person, you educate a community, right? Especially, you educating a mother, you're educating, a whole family, same with fathers. Like, you get the opportunity to transform. It's more than, I think sometimes we get caught up in that one-to-one model and the limitations of it. But no, you are changing lives. So you just may not see everybody in your vicinity, but we are changing lives. I love it.
Yes. And I love how you say, and I put it on the screen, that you educate by even running your coaching program, walk women through the process. So I think that's the hard part sometimes for us. Let's talk a little bit about your journey of how you had to get through the process so that you can come to help support others in their healing and their relationship with food and weight. It really is a huge deal in our world.
Oh my goodness. I think this is a season where I reflect on my journey, and I just love knowing I'm teaching from a place I have been there. I know this pain. I know what it's like to carry weight, excess weight, and not know what to do with it. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome first when I was as a teenager. And so I first started noticing symptoms in high school, and I gained 70 pounds in a year. And no one really knew what to do about it. I didn't know. The doctors didn't know. It was very much in the time of dieting. So that's the first stop, right? I started dieting. And of course, I didn't get very far. As I don't know if some of you have a similar journey. I did okay for a little while. I felt like I was holding my breath, right? You hold your breath, but eventually you just got to let it out. And so I would just get frustrated because I would just cycle back and forth, lose it, gain it. And I wasn't getting very far. And so my Christian faith is so important to me. And I just remember asking God for help. I was desperate. I was asking him for help. And I felt like he gave me an invitation. He said, "Daughter, I have a journey for you." And I did, at the time, when he was saying, he gave me an instruction. And I remember at the time I was like, this sounds like, I'm not going to get nothing out of this instruction. But as I reflect, my obedience to that instruction has changed everything. It has changed everything for me. It's given me a purpose. Not only did it set the course of my own freedom journey, right? And it has been an adventure of sorts, but I have been on my own freedom journey. It's almost like I feel like I really relate to Sister Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
In this season, I have really just kind of seen her journey in new light. And I feel like in some ways, God is kind of, again, I'm no Harriet, but I do like to say, I feel like he is sending me back to go back and get others. Because he said, you know the way, you know how to get out now. So go help other people. So I figure I do that. I do it in my research where I create treatments. I do it in my coaching program with individuals and groups, helping them get on a path so they can get to the same place.
Wow. That's really beautiful. I love it. It's funny that you say about the Harriet. I always say that I'm like that for education. Like now that I understand how we really are affecting lives, you know. And so I appreciate, you know, I'm like, I need to go back and make sure that we really understand how to educate from generation to generation, how we're impacting so many. And so your specialty, connecting with your journey, your story is so powerful, so beautiful. Talk to me about, you know, a challenge that you had, like when you started to realize I have to live this different life. I have to be this different person in a sense, not completely different, but how was that transition?
For sure. So I remember it was early college. I was in the height of my dieting journey, and my dieting had led me to an eating disorder. You know, I was scared to eat, right? I had lost some weight. I had, you know, cut out carbs, you know, and I'm laughing, but it's not funny, right? Because I know a lot of us are doing this stuff. I cut out my carbs, but it led me to a place where I got scared to eat. I didn't know what I was going to eat. I remember sitting there at breakfast, and you know, sometimes you don't have a lot of choices what you're going to eat. And there was a bagel sitting in front of me, and I remember just being like, I don't know what to do with this bagel. Like I had really kind of taken a step off, you know, where I was scared, and I knew that wasn't healthy. I was scared. It was like, I don't want to get fat, you know, it wasn't healthy. And I think out of that painful place, you know, I remember being in a body that, you know, I just felt invisible. I felt like it was not me. And I felt stuck. And didn't really know what to do. And so again, I just remember God inviting me. He said, I have an invitation for you. And I just remember, and I knew when he put the idea in my heart, I remember thinking, that's crazy. And so he started speaking to my heart about learning. Now I know what it was, but he was teaching me how to eat. I focus a lot on our culture, we focus a lot on what we're eating. But come to find out, that was advanced. That was an advanced level. I was still at the basic level. We didn't need to go down a notch because I was eating because I had my emotional eating. I was eating because it was time to eat. I had no idea what being hungry and full. Like I remember folks say, oh, I don't want to spoil my appetite. And I remember just being like, I honestly don't even know what that means because I can always eat. Like I just did not even understand what that meant when folks were saying I'm gonna spoil my appetite. I would laugh. And I felt like God took me on a journey to teach me some of those fundamentals of just the mechanics of eating. Also spiritually, to teach me how not to rely on food for my sustenance emotionally. Right? Because that's what, if I was being honest, that's where I went when I needed help, when I needed comfort, when I needed, you know, I had a bad day. Immediately,
me too.
Came in my mind. Yeah, so many of us. I was like, I gotta eat something. I gotta eat. And I had to unlearn that. I felt like God taught me. He took me on a journey where, you know, I attained, I got to the skinniest I've ever been, right? And that's supposed to be where we're all supposed to be. That's supposed to be, we're all trying to get to that place. And I get there and I realize it's still life. There's still challenges. There's still mountains. You're not done yet.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like God also allowed me to gain more weight. So I lost all the weight, and then I had a resurgence of my PCOS and gained it all back and more. And so, but that season, it was such a painful season because I was embarrassed, right? I was already teaching folks. And so when folks would see me, they were like, wow, what? You just now doing everything you told us not to do. So I was embarrassed. I didn't want to be seen. But God was healing me. He was doing a work in me. Even then, even when on the outside, I probably looked people probably thought she just fell off the wagon. But on the inside, I think I was being renewed and I was more mature than I've ever been, because it was only in that season where I really learned how to really be about my health behaviors and not have it always be attached to my weight, right? Because before it was shallow. I worked out because I wanted to lose weight. Like that was the reason, right? And God was showing me there's more. Can you just work out and be healthy and do the things you're supposed to do? Just because you are a steward of this body. You have been given a gift. You have the resources. You have the opportunity. Why aren't you taking care of yourself? And it took me years to really get it, because again, it was so shallow for me. It was all about my looks, all about my appearance. And that's why I never lasted that long. Because after, I would always, because I was like, well, I got it. I got my appearance now. But God was showing me, I need you to be a person who just takes care of her body, practices her health behaviors and maturity, right? Discipline. And recognizing as we get older, you may not always have control over your weight and the way that you want to. And that has been, again, years of learning some of these things. You may not always have control, but I always have control of my behavior. Right? That's what I control. What do I do? How do I practice? And I have found, as I have continued to get on that journey of health, it has allowed me a different pathway, I think, of being at peace now with where my body tells me, right? I always thought I told my body what size I wanted it to be. The body's like, you're funny. No, ma'am. I tell you, because I know what's best. I know what you need. And I'm learning to accept what my body decides. And I just keep my health behaviors forward and continue to go on a journey to love myself, improve my body image. And it takes time. But I'm excited because I know everything I've learned can help somebody else.
Absolutely. Listen, you said so many amazing things. First of all, I appreciate you sharing so transparently your story and your journey. And as you were talking, it made me think about, how does this affect our children when they're watching us, and how we take care of our bodies, whether in the classroom and in the schools or at home or wherever. Like, how does this affect, like, from generation to generation? And how might it have affected you when you were younger? Like where are we unlearning from, right? Like,
So when I think about our babies, they come out pure. And what babies do really, really well is they know intuitively when they're hungry and they know when they're full. So most of the time when a baby is hungry, right, they're going to cry. When they're full and they've had enough food, they're going to turn their head. They're not going to want to eat anymore most of the time. Always exceptions, but most of the time. What happens is then they get socialized into our culture. And again, as Americans, we prioritize, I think, again, because of our pain. I think about historically when we have had seasons where there hasn't been enough to eat, and again, when I think about African Americans, there's a way that we eat because of the same thing, right? We know what it's like not to have anything, like to eat with scraps to make it work. And so now we have a culture where there's food kind of everywhere, and so I think we socialize our children to disconnect from their internal signals, right? You're like, just think about it. You're like, you're not eating enough. Eat more. Finish the food on your plate. Kids like, I'm not hungry. No, you got to eat. You got to finish your food. And slowly they learn from being socialized. They learn from their environment and they disconnect. Our culture, I think, is one that largely your internal cues of hunger are like not that critical when it comes to eating choices. It might be time to eat. There might be food available. You might be offered food. And so we start to teach our children there's snacks everywhere. Everywhere there's a snack. And we don't allow our bodies to just, our bodies naturally, you think about back, historically, they didn't have snacks. Right? They didn't have snacks. They didn't eat every couple of minutes, right? Some of us, I know there are seasons where I literally could be eating every hour, just grazing, because it was just there. And not even realizing, again, this is natural. This is what we do. And so I think when I think about our children, I think it's important to help our kids still keep centered their hunger and their fullness. And it's hard in this culture with snacks every 5 seconds, but to really keep it centered. And if they say they're not hungry, then they're not hungry. You know, like, again, unless there's a medical concern, but for the most part, to help your children learn and listen to their bodies, because it takes a long time to relearn that, and it's already natural to them. It's already natural to them. And we're just socializing them the way we've been socialized, but we can do it different. We can do it different.
We can do it different. That's what we talk about. Like, true education to me is thinking about doing things differently that have been just common, and we're just going with emotions. No, we need to do it differently, because we look at the data now. Like, we know better now.
Yep.
You know? And so I love that. And you know, when you were talking a little bit about snacks, I thought about like how that is a reward sometimes in the classroom.
Yes.
I can't even lie and say I haven't been a part of that when I first started coming up, and I started to realize, like, no, I don't need to be giving you snacks just to do your work, or snacks. No.
Yep.
And so we had to like say, no, this is not what we're doing, but making sure I do understand that there are children that don't eat, you know,
right.
There are things that happen. That doesn't mean I just give them unhealthy stuff either. We teach them. So there's a lot here. Talk to us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think one thing that we often teach folks is to listen again, right? Your body is genius. It knows how to regulate your weight, and to help our children, help us educate and learn how to listen again, right? What a stomach. I think often one of the things I teach folks is the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger. Listen, because they both kind of, in both instances, you're going to be like, I'm hungry, you know, but to realize true hunger, physical hunger, where food would be the solution, it often starts with a growling in your stomach sensation. You know, you're gonna feel a little growly. You might be lightheaded. Folks laugh. You might be a little hangry. But you're gonna have physical symptoms. In contrast, emotional eating, you know, it might start with a feeling, a taste in your mouth. You know, like, oh, I got a taste for something. Oh, I feel like eating something. You might have a specific taste for something in mind, right? It could be just it. But it's easily confused, because just what you said, Robin, we eat so much emotionally, and we do use food as a reward, as you know, and so folks, that link becomes established, like food, it makes me feel good, it helps me, it's a treat, you know. And again, not to say we don't celebrate, but to really help folks understand the difference. And when I have physical needs and I'm physically hungry, I eat. And then if I'm emotionally hungry, let's see what's going on. Let's help our kids, our families learn how to identify their emotions, to describe how they feel, to begin to name what happened, and to promote wellness, mental wellness, because it's connected. Because in some ways, our eating has been our way of helping us be mentally well. And it hasn't done a great job, because it's not really getting to the real issues.
Well, you know, and if you guys are just tuning in, we are with my wonderful, wonderful guest, Dr. Rachel Goode. And I really want you all to hear how we can think about the difference between emotional eating and hunger, and how that really plays a role in how we educate our children in the classroom, how it plays a role in with us being well. So we're talking about being mindful in our eating and fostering wellness. And we hear the term wellness so often. Guys, share this out. Put your comments and questions in the chat, and we'll be back in here and we will answer some of the questions. What questions do you have for Dr. Goode, and how to go through your journey? But I love how you say this in your message. You say, God's mercies are new every meal. And you know what? I just giggle when I say that. I love your message to everyone. Talk to us about how you came to this.
Oh my goodness. This was birthed out of my frustration, pain of trying to get it right, you know, and not getting it right. And usually in that moment, I think it's like we're building something and it falls down, and you're looking at the rubble, right? Looking at Oh, I got off my eating plan. Oh, I ate more than I would like to. Oh, that wasn't what I intended to eat. Like whatever it was, I find in that moment, it was so easy to get discouraged and quit.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all, and say, forget it. As if you hadn't been doing stuff already. Like you're not at the beginning of your journey. You're probably well into it, but we act as if like, oh, I messed up. I might as well just pack my bag and go home. And I think God dropped that in my heart a couple of years back when I was at the beginning of my wellness journey. And he reminded me, you can come back tomorrow. We can try again. Yeah. We can try again. Wipe the slate clean. Ask him for help. Ask me to help you. And we can do this together. And it works, like I use it because it works. And I love having that mindset. It gives me a hope mindset instead of like, it's over, right? Mm-hmm. It's a hopeful place, knowing that change is not linear, right? Change is down, up, all around. Mm-hmm. And knowing if I knew that the process was going to be like that, I might be willing to engage in it a bit more. I think sometimes we act as if it's supposed to be, I learn the information, I practice, and I get it, and I'm done. And then we're all mad at ourselves when we don't get it. It's like, that's not the process. Yeah. The process is a lot of falling down and just to keep going. So it would encourage me. And I teach that to my coaching clients, and it encourages me.
I love that. And before we go into talking a little bit about your mission, the mission that you're on with your coaching and your research, it reminded me of the song that you said inspires you. So your message of God's mercies are new at every meal. And I received that, honey. Yes. Because it is a journey. It's not just about weight loss. I love that. You talked about the image piece. You talked about, like how it looks, the vanity of how you kind of like want to lose weight for. But really, when we're talking about wellness and image, that people kind of put those together, and it's not always your image that makes you have wellness. And it's hard because you live in a world that's what it's been about. Mm-hmm. And then our children, I'm always about like knowing that our children are watching everything that we do and they are adopting these things or maybe not. Mm-hmm. To be intentional about making sure that they see us go through our journey as well. And that it's not all about a certain size. It's not all about, yes. Like all those different things. And so, but on the journey is a journey. They need to see us pushing through our challenges, our ups and downs. I love how you talked about, let's talk about our emotions. Let's talk about what's happening, because emotions really do drive us to places we never thought we would go. And I appreciate that even in the classroom, we think about emotional support. We think about how all of our students, we all have people who are on their own particular journeys in life, and they're dealing with so much. We don't know what people are going through from minute to minute. And so they say that America is like the biggest, like, and because we're always emotional eating, and then we put up on the commercials to say, hey, because I love food. Listen, I love food, but you're right. I need to think about, and we need to think about, how are we teaching our children through our own actions to take every day and say, okay, let me start again. Let me get this right. I'd rather them see that than see us just like, well, I'm going through, I'm just going to eat all this. I'm just, what message are we really teaching them? Right.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. But that song that you had, More Than Able, tell me, it's by Elevation Worship.
Yes.
Tell me about
that song, I find like it just reminds me who we serve. Like his ability to do more than I think he's going to do. Like the song was based on Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do immeasurably more than what we ask or think. And I just think of him too small. And so it encouraged me. And I think that was one of the things that I had to remember on my eating and weight journey, is that he is able to take me to exactly where he said we were going. Now, it may not be where I thought we were going, but he can take me to where he said we're going. And he told me I was going to be whole and free at the end of it. And to just get up and go, right? Get up and go, because the one who calls you is trustworthy. He's trustworthy. He is Oh, he is trustworthy. And I think sometimes we get scared, and I know I get scared to do something I haven't done, to get something I never had. And I think I can keep doing what I always did. And eventually, what I never had is going to bounce on the plate. It doesn't work like that. Like, you gotta step out. But the thing that encourages me as a step out is knowing if God called me to go, then I'm gonna make it at the end. I'm gonna be successful at the end because He is more than able. It's like He has secured, right? He's ensured it's gonna be a successful journey. So it takes me a minute, but it encourages me to kind of get out there and go forth.
So then when you go forth on this mission, so you guys see it at the bottom here, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger so you all can see. When you're like, okay, I'm going to go forth. We really do have to be well to do that. We really do have to. And I actually, let me put this first, because you said something when we were talking earlier. My wellness is my responsibility, but although it's our responsibility, we are not alone in it.
We are not alone. Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, we're not. I act like it though. We act like it.
We do.
Don't
We
you?
do. We do.
We are a collective people. God meant for us to depend on each other, to use each other. But I know, y'all listeners out there, I know how many times have you gone on this big behavior change journey by yourself? I'm just going to do this alone. And most of the time, again, if I look back on any time that I have ever been able to successfully accomplish my weight management goals, it has always been in community. It has never been completely by myself. Whether I had a friend hold me accountable, whether I was, leading my coaching program and they were helping me, like we need each other. And I know I think historically, right, we have a lot of pain from being separated, but we got to get that out of our heads and tell folks what's going on, right? We overcome because of our testimonies. Tell them what's going on. Tell them what you need. Yeah. And you'd be surprised. Your provision, your help is right there in front of you. And, they say the closed mouths don't get fed. I think it's the same way with your healing journey. Like, you got to talk so that you can get access to your healing.
Rachel, I was thinking about a time I taught in, I think I was teaching kindergarten at the time, and we did a Biggest Loser journey. And we were doing trying to do weight loss and stuff. I came in second place and I was like, yes. But the biggest thing was my motivation was to lose the most pounds. But it was the most fun. It's the most thing I remember, where I really felt like, you know what, I had energy and I was moving and in community, just like you talked about.
Yeah.
And we were, sharing recipes, and we were sharing workout. We were walking around the school. I mean, these are things that help us even build community as teachers. It was one of the best schools that I was at, not because all the behaviors and all the things were great. Because, it was one of the roughest schools I was at. But together we worked to be well and healthy together and had fun with it. And I was like, I'm going to win. So I would literally get up every morning, 4 a.m. My school started super early at 7. I had to be there for a meeting. We had a meeting at 7 a.m. every morning. So I had to get up. I went to Planet Fitness at the time. I was on that treadmill and I was moving. And then I was like, I'm determined. But then I realized I was doing this because I was with community. I felt comfortable to do all that. And I was winning. But when I didn't have that, it fell by the wayside.
Yep. It's how we're made. Again, I think it's very, especially when before it's in you, I think, and it's, it's growing, you need the others to kind of help you go, it's critical. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. This is a question that I get a lot too. Because even in our family, we're on this challenge together just to make sure that we're well. It's just been a lot of health issues lately and all that. So with your research and all that you do, how do you help people get to a space where, whether they're with a group or not, that they feel good about wanting to be well themselves, consistent? How do we, I feel like there's a lot of okay, we're doing this, we get it, we're eating well, we're doing, and then we're not. And then we're busy. And then it happens and it's taken away and it's everything else is now more important. How do you get out of that cycle?
It's just, and that's exactly how it goes. I'm telling you, I think one, when I think about helping folks get on this journey, it really has become a product of, I think, your finding your why.
Mm-hmm.
And in as I've gotten older, my why has deepened.
Wow.
My why, when I was younger, my why was like, I'm trying to be cute. That was my why, right? But as I got older, it's like, oh, I'm trying not to get type 2 diabetes. Okay. I'm trying, to have children. Like it got deeper. It got deeper. And I remember with each one of my, I think I've had to lose weight significant, at least 50 to 70 pounds, probably about 2 to 3 times, whether it was pregnancy, whether it was my polycystic ovary syndrome, like I had to, and each time I felt like I had the motivation because I knew I was staring down. Because for me, my health issues were kind of centered in hindsight, I'm grateful because it gave me a fire under me because there were certain things that I was literally steps away from health wise. Doctors told me, like with my polycystic ovary syndrome, if I did not lose weight, then it affected me being able to like ovulate and affected, me being able to get pregnant. Like it was all connected. And also with the doctors told me that I also need to lose weight because I was going to have I was pre-diabetic. I was have type 2 diabetes. And so both of those things, I really was like, do I want this to be my story? And I didn't want it to be my story. And so it really helped to motivate me. It also was scary though, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. And to take it just a little bit at a time, 2 pounds at a time, and just focus on just taking the journey the way God took it, and how he showed me it needed to go. And it was tough though, but some seasons I wasn't that motivated, and I think, and I'm grateful, I think, because that's the thing. Life will motivate you. It will be like, you may not be motivated now, but I'm gonna give you a reason to be motivated. So you just hold on. You're gonna be motivated soon enough. Because our health matters. It does.
It really does. I thank you. And here's the thing I want to ask you too, and about what you do. So you said you teach, you conduct research, you run therapy. Talk to us a little bit about your businesses, all the things you have your hands in.
Yeah. So, in the one I'm most excited about is my coaching business. It's called Whole and Free. And what I do is I run group coaching programs and individual coaching to help folks begin the journey of kind of doing this. I know you can go to several places and get weight loss, right? Weight loss tips, get a fitness plan. The coach can give you the plan. But as most of us know, it's more than that. It's deeper than that. And so, and that's really the work I'm trying to do, is do your deeper work. We just don't go deep enough typically. And if we're just trying to change your eating and exercise behaviors, you're not going deep enough, because likely there's a whole world that is supporting these behaviors that you have not tapped into. And so if you don't go deep enough, then the change is going to be very shallow. And that's one reason why folks fall off. So, right, because they didn't go deep enough. And so that's what I felt like God did. I was like, Lord, that's my business, And he's like, daughter,
wait a minute.
Daughter, one thing that I realized when we go and we build our health journey, one thing we don't recognize is that if we're going to be successful, we need to have a way to cope with the storms. To cope with the storms because they're going to come.
Yeah.
Usually we don't plan for the storm, right? We don't plan for the storm in our journey. So when the storm inevitably comes, we have not made a plan for it. And food is typically a way that we cope with the storm. It's typically part of our coping strategy. And so that doesn't work quite well if I'm also on a health and wellness plan and I don't have a strategy. So I'm not prepared for the storm. Storm comes, I'm knocked out. And if we were start differently, right? And so when I work with my clients, what we do first is we do the deep work first, right? We're digging in and we're starting to unpack and uncover what are the things that are affecting you eating, how you're coping, your how and why you're eating, help you, if you're not hearing your signals, help those fire out again, help you begin to kind of get your foundation strong. And again, what I've seen in my own personal life is once the foundation is strong, you can add the other stuff. You can add on top of it, but so often we start at the top and our foundation is weak. And sure enough, when that storm comes, you're over. You're just laid out and you're feeling discouraged, you're feeling hopeless, and you're not prepared. We also, I think, kind of do something called weight loss juggling, where we're doing a million things at the same time, knowing you don't have mastery over one of those things, right? You're trying to change the exercise, trying to change your diet, you're trying to eat differently, not emotional eat, not eat after 9, like all of that at the same time, and you don't do any of those things. Right? Just think about how crazy that sounds.
Ouch. Yeah.
How are you going to do all of that? And so what happens is you get overwhelmed because you cannot, or you try to change too much at once, you get burnt out and you quit everything. You quit everything. It would be better if you start with one thing. So I know with one of the women I'm coaching now, we're literally starting with one thing. But don't you know, we're making progress. We're making progress. And as we're working on one thing, she's learning. She is getting her confidence. That's the thing. Your confidence is critical. And she's saying, I can do it. And when you get confident, you can add a little bit more. But we don't want to just take on too much and then you're all discouraged. Like, that is often how we do this, though. We're like, I'm going to change everything. No, you're not.
Listen, how many of us can attest to that? Like, if you're listening, guys, put it in the chat. Let's be transparent. I'm here sitting here like, I want to lose this much amount of weight. I'm going to exercise this much more. And I have to like slow down. It's so funny because I went on my like a walk run. It was supposed to be a run yesterday, but I was like, oh my God, I was trying to do a certain amount of time. So look, I'm being transparent. So I need us all to be transparent.
Yes.
And I was telling my brother-in-law, and he was like, but he works out every single day. He's been very consistent. I'm very proud, really proud of him.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, we're going to do 3. I'll go around here. And then I said, okay. But I got on the Peloton this morning. So I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm doing 2 different exercises now this evening. I'm going to go around twice. You go around 3 times, and he's passing me in circles, and that's okay. But I told him, I said, if I do that, I'm not going to do anything else the rest of this week. I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm going to be burnt out. No,
exactly.
I really want to like every morning, like do what I did before, just get up because I feel better. I feel better when I just get up, take my walk, get up or get on the bike.
Take your walk.
It's just a walk. Like I don't have to come and, I get up and I make my smoothie and I'm like, that's the first thing that's gone in my body because I know what's inside of it. I'm putting it together myself, so I appreciate that. And then when I do those things and I go to start coaching and supporting educators, or if I'm going to go speak out of school, whatever, I feel so much better versus like, oh gosh, I just had to do all these things. So you're so right. And you're convicting us right now too, because I know I want to do a whole bunch and I'll have to really pace myself. So here's my other question for you though, before we go. How would teachers help students? There are 2 questions, so you can answer them both. How do teachers help students with this concept in the classroom as they're growing and coming up? We're with the students a lot during the day. And how do they help themselves and their students? Same thing for families and community. How do we help students with this? What are some tips that you can leave us with so that we can start the year with a plan for ourselves and for others?
Yeah, I think one thing we can do is recognize, or maybe we brought in some elements of our culture that is not helpful, right? Where we're training our kids how to rely on food for joy, for their comfort, for a reward, and we want them to teach them how to use food to nourish, right? That's what food is supposed to be. It's just physical nourishment.
Yeah.
And recognize that not our kids always have opportunities to eat regularly, right? But that's one thing that we teach in my program, just the fundamentals of eating regularly. So trying to eat, 3 meals, 2 snacks a day. And so if you're eating a lot more than that or a lot less, right? I know sometimes as teachers, we're busy throughout the day. And so it sets us up, though, when we don't eat regularly, it sets us up to kind of eat late at night.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. I mean, seriously.
You're not hungry because you ate late at night, right? It sets your whole day off. And so as you eat regularly and then helping your kids, making sure they have access to food at the right times, but then those other in-between times, maybe give them something else as a reward. Give them another activity that they can do that's not food centered. I know my team, we have made a back to school healthy snack, what is it? Cookbook?
Yes.
Yeah, that we have full of recipes. There's 20 recipes in there. Maybe not 20, but there's a good number of recipes in there that will help you feel full, nourished, and give you energy. Because sometimes our snacks, the ones that are easy to grab, don't have much in them. And, to help your kids get their strength and teach them. I know I didn't really get a lot of nutrition training when I was in school. I didn't really have any, and I didn't understand why I eat certain things and what things are important to eat. But, that's something that we have worked on. Just, the more you know, and help our kids learn early and to identify things that'll help them continue to be strong.
I love that. Thank you for sharing all this wonderful information, research, life story. I want to know where we can find you at for coaching. I also want to know when we can expect to maybe look into getting that cookbook.
Yes.
That's all like so awesome.
Yeah. So for coaching, you can find me at RachelWGoode with an E.com. And then for my cookbook, that is with my research lab. It's called livingfreelab.org. And so there we have a website. You can find out information. Okay. We're going to create a link and put it right there so folks can find the website for the cooking. And it's going to be, easily accessed. And you can email us at info@livingfreelab.org for any additional information.
I will put that in the chat so everybody can see it. Guys, please make sure that you go and you support my sister. She is doing that heart work that we talk about every Monday, every week is what I meant to say. She is doing heart work because when we do things from the heart, we really are trying to transform and change lives. And I love what you talked about nutrition. I appreciate your work that you do with even thinking about how like eating disorders and the roots of where that comes from. You guys, please reach out to her. Please connect with her. Your life will be transformed. And she's not just talking about this stuff. There's a lot of people online giving a lot of information. There's a lot of people in the world giving a lot of information who aren't really going on their own journey, who haven't really gone on their own journey, and they're just trying to, put some stuff out there that sounds pretty good or, but I appreciate that you were doing this from your heart, Rachel. Like, I appreciate that you, even your family, like, even I wanted to ask you your family too. Like,
yes. I don't know if you hear my family.
Yes. I love it.
You hear them out here.
That means it's time.
So mommy Rachel's gonna have to return. But I have 2 boys. I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old, and my husband Devon, and we together have we're growing in this thing, getting stronger, getting closer, just really prioritizing family in this season. So yes.
I love it. You can find her, guys. I'm gonna even put this right here in her Instagram. I'll put the other things in here. I know. Don't worry about it. This is life, real life. Okay.
Yes, I've enjoyed being with you all.
Listen, I love your mission. Thank you so much. We want to just say thank you once again.
You are welcome.
You're now added to our Brilliance wall, and our Brilliance wall after this show. We're excited that you have really given us some knowledge and some nuggets. Guys, watch this replay. Share it back out. If you missed it, share it out. And please get a hold of my sister because you will not be sorry. Thank you, Dr. Good.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Guys, we want to thank her. We appreciate her. I want to remind you that Dr. Goode can be reached here at I did put it on the screen for you. If you're on Instagram, you can go right here to her Instagram page. She mentioned her website. So awesome. Really excited. I'm just overjoyed to have had her on and really